know what I mean.
Yeah, we'll just talk, and then you'll
Um,
just find the place to cut it.
yeah, so I finally got player of the month Valverde
Fuck yeah.
to fill
Oh
out my
yeah, some
midfield.
FIFA chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I had an insane start to my FIFA 23 Ultimate Team experience. They had this one challenge where like if you won 3 squad battles games, you pretty much got a 50k pack and a 100k pack. In the 50k pack, I got once to watch Rudiger, and then in the 100k pack, I got once to watch Lewandowski and Benzema in the same pack. So
That's tight.
It's based.
I'm running a tight 4-1-2-1-2 with Lewandowski and Benzema running the top, and I just added player of the month Valverde. It's
Solid.
interesting, interesting game so far.
I like that. I got Lewandowski, Trent, Vardy, some boys. I have some lads in there. Team could be improved.
Got a couple of fellas.
Got a couple of fellas. I'll tell you what though, we don't have to talk about FIFA for that long. Career mode is fucking sick. I was out of career mode for a while. The being able to make your own jerseys from the first, second, and third kit to the stadium to the crest. What an awesome addition that was to FIFA. I hope they keep building on that because truly that is sick.
That will get me to play the game again if they do like a good career mode experience. I'll actually buy FIFA.
Yeah, and you can finally do you can buy players, like on advance deal, so buy them in the winter and get them in the summer. I think the loan moves are better. Just all around, the career mode is just like a better mode than it was a few years ago, and I'm having so much fun doing it. And being able to like take a team out of the Prem too, and then you basically design yourself as like either a European giant, a small club, and it just like randomizes these players for you. And will
That's
give
cool.
you kind of like overall talent based on like how good you want to be at the start. So love that from the FIFA boys.
That's sick. Good for them.
Me and Pat are having a beer today too. I mean, if you can't notice, I think it's
Shout out we're taking a note of the Lads podcast book. Shout out the Lads podcast for their little shout out on Instagram. If you haven't listened to the Lads, go listen to the Lads. We had Kevin on last season. Hopefully getting him back soon. But nice little ode to the fellas for their little shout out to us. So I mean, I'm having a beer because fuck yeah, I'm having a beer because I had a really good weekend. You guys were fine. I mean, I guess, but I had a fucking great weekend.
We had our ups and downs for sure.
I mean, who are we talking about first here? Are we talking about Pat? Talking about Haaland?
I mean,
Robot
we
boy?
might as well. Yeah, I got to watch 2 lifelong City fans rip United apart for 90 minutes, so it was a really good time. Another Haaland hat trick. Josh, you should have bet on him to score 2+ goals. Phil Foden getting his first ever City hat trick, and then a hat trick against United too. Haaland had 2 assists. Notable from that game, other than the fact that Erling Haaland is a fucking freak of nature. 2 notables. One, Jack Grealish had a very, very good game. He feels like he's finally, becoming the player that we saw at Villa. He was excellent for the entirety of the time he was on the pitch against United. I was super, super impressed with him. Also, fun stat, there hadn't been a hat trick scored in a Manchester derby for like 50 years, and then 2 of them got scored in the same game.
That's kind of wild, actually. I just looked up. I was looking at my phone. Do you know who Haaland's XG is right now, Pat, in the league? So the league, he has 14 goals. Do you know what his XG is?
Isn't it like 3 or 4?
8.4. Still.
That's fucking insane.
You're over.
He has more goals than 14 Premier League teams right now.
Yeah. Just the fact that you're outperforming your XG by almost over 6 goals is fucking insane this early in the season.
He's unbelievable. By the end of the season, he's going to smash so many goal scoring records. I know you were like, at the beginning of the season, you were like, he'll score a lot, like 20, 25. Yeah. It's looking like if he doesn't score 40, it's like a disappointment at this stage in the season. No exaggeration. He could break that Messi record for goals scored in a calendar year if he keeps this pace.
Injury will be the only thing that holds him back. I mean, he gets a fucking month break in the World Cup window, too.
cannot be any happier about that either.
Just a rest.
City are cruising. Ten Hag's quotes, earlier in the season saying that like City and Liverpool are great sides, but eras have to come to an end. And then after the game saying that City gave them a reality check and saying thank you for a footballing lesson is very funny too. I had a great all around weekend. 4-0 up at halftime. Haaland, first player in the Premier League, also to get a 10 from Le Quip.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a fun little bit. It wasn't as easy for me and Mitch. Liverpool drew 3-3 with Brighton. Little bit of a weird game, just conceding 2 early goals. I never want to give up a hat trick to a player like Leandro Trossard. Really good resilience from the boys to come back. Firmino just has been excellent, I think, so far this season. Has the same, if not better, stats than Gabriel Jesus. The one getting all the comparisons to greats, but Bobby stays kind of steady lurking. Aside from that, though, pretty shitty way to give up kind of that third and final goal to, inevitably drop points.
Yeah, I think it's becoming more and more clear that Liverpool are playing and sticking to this transition, especially in a game against Brighton where we seem to struggle and drop a point. There's clearly a lack of communication on the back line. Positioning is obviously changing. Mo's being asked to do a little bit of a different role. We have had some injury woes, but in that game against Brighton, it had flashes of that resiliency and that drive to really go out and win a game. But it feels more and more like teams are getting comfortable exposing our back line. We'll
get into Trent later. We'll watch it.
He got cooked on that second goal. He got cooked.
No, the first one was when he got sat down.
Yeah. So it's either players are feeling very comfortable running down the line, or there's a lack of communication between either Matip, Konate, whoever's filling that other center back role. There's just a lack of communication. So if they decide to go in between, there's just nobody there to cover, and it's becoming more and more evident week in and week out that it's an issue. Obviously, a change of pace in the Champions League game, which we'll get into. But it was a frustrating 90 minutes for me, because it's just like it feels like that identity that we've held on to for so long has definitely changed, and it really kind of reaffirmed that for me, that like we are in a transition now. It's important to be critical and important to understand that there is a time clock, that we can't keep getting 1 point from games. But
I don't even know if we're in a transition. We just have so many players that are just fucking in bad form. Fabinho was shocking on Saturday.
Was shocking. Thiago was shocking. There was a lot that I really was frustrated with looking at. It was just like very lackluster passing through the midfield. Very, very tough to transition from our defensive line, and we were just absorbing pressure. It's not as cutthroat. It's not as quick to jump on the ball in the opposition third and the attacking third. It's kind of been sit back and we're succumbing to that pressure. So it's just things I've noticed. I'm not trying to be too critical at this point in the season. It's just like things I've noticed and frustrations that I have as a Liverpool fan that we've been experiencing as a club. Like, those are games where you go out and you get a late goal and you take 3 points. And that just hasn't happened yet this year. We haven't really found our stride yet.
Yeah. Well, we move on. When the season's at this pace, you can't dwell on, drop points too often. So we're on to Arsenal. And speaking of the Gunners, they had the North London Derby this past weekend. Pretty much ran over Spurs.
I don't want to be the one to say I told you guys so, but
you're right. You told us
so.
This game sold me on Arsenal, honestly.
I don't think it's sold
I think
me
they could finish top 2. we had Spurs pegged as top three. All of us did at the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Spurs look bad. Arsenal look incredible.
Yep.
I don't know, man. It showed me that they can turn it around. They got the shit kicked out of them by United. They came back and they put in a great game against Tottenham. If they can turn up against you guys this weekend, I'm sold. I'm fucking sold. I'm on the Arsenal train right now. I'm done doubting them. I think they can do it.
Oh, I think if they beat us, yeah, that'll be a big tip in their cap. But also, I was looking at Tottenham before the Frankfurt match, just kind of like looking at their past fixtures. They haven't really had an impressive win this season, and they're losing the XG battle so much. They're just not creating enough. And they're kind of, I don't know, they're in a similar vein as Arsenal. Like, they're not quite as good, but, like, they haven't really faced that many tough teams. And when they have, they've, lost or dropped points. And when they go against teams with, like, a halfway decent attack, they, concede goals. So I'm not sure, again, I think Arsenal get exposed. I think Liverpool will pick Arsenal out. We'll get into it later, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think Spurs is like a win you can be like, that's one that like puts Arsenal at the top of the table,
I mean, I don't think it keeps him there because I mean, ultimately, I think City are just going to keep winning, and I don't see Arsenal are going to lose some games. I don't. In a world where City are playing the way they're playing and Arsenal are playing the way they're playing, I don't see Arsenal, conceding less than 4 in this current environment. I mean, I still think they're a really good side, and I think we could genuinely see them finish well inside the top 4, comfortably in the top 2 or 3 teams. But yeah, I don't know. I think the pressure that was on Arsenal going into this North London derby and to have them perform the way that they did and to keep that like consistency over the course of those 90 minutes. I mean, like one Harry Kane pen, which like those happen every fucking North London derby. It's tacked on. Harry Kane's going to score a penalty. Outside of that, I thought Arsenal looked really, really good. I mean, Gabriel's Gabriel. He conceded the penalty, which it's a win for Josh at the end of the day. But I thought the rest of Arsenal's side looked incredible. Jesus played really well. Their whole front three was just doing what they needed to do to break down that Tottenham defense. I didn't think Tottenham looked threatening at all going forward. I thought Kane looked kind of pedestrian outside of the moments that he got. I thought Ramsdale had a good game too.
I thought of a good way to compare this just now. I think a good place to put this Arsenal team in is, a couple years ago, the full COVID year, Manchester United finished in second place that year. But it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. City run away with it. Liverpool, Chelsea kind of have, off years. I could see Arsenal getting second, and if they do, I'd be like, okay, good, It's not like Liverpool finishing second last year, though, where they were, like, right at it till the very end. Arsenal could easily finish second and be, like, an okay side.
Yeah, that's very fair, because, I mean, again, I've been saying it all season. I think City are running away with it. So ultimately, I think a title challenge is a stretch.
Yeah, that's fair. Only other thing I think we can talk about here in terms of current news, MLS Playoffs. We're kind of heading that way. LAFC wins the Supporter Shield this season. Are you guys already out of the playoffs?
Yeah, we are confirmed not in that shit.
What a turnaround for you boys. You guys were like, you won the Supporter Shield last year. And
just
set
fucking records.
That tough year to be a Rev.
We also set, like, I believe it's a record out of $24 million in departures with books with Matt Turner and with Buchanan. There's a lot of flip-flop. Clearly, the 3 CONCACAF Champions League signings did not pan out with Omar Gonzalez, Sebastian Lletget, and Josie Altidore all have left the club, if I'm not mistaken.
None of them are still with us.
A very, very, very bad showing from Bruce Arenas this year. Carlos Gil still having a contender for MLS 11 of the season.
He's our shining star.
Just can't play the left wing anymore. Andrew Farrell and Kessler at the center back pairing were a shambles this year. Andy Farrell took a huge step back, in my opinion.
He's getting older, though.
Brandon Bai shaky at right back, but ultimately a solid defender and somebody I think we should build around moving forward. But just a tough year. Got to reset. We broke the bank and money in, so I think it's time to really target some players for the future.
I'm
Yeah.
rooting for the Loons.
Yep.
I mean,
Loons train.
we're on deadline day at this point. Had a massive lead. I think we were as high as second, third place in the West kind of a couple months ago. We're right on that last spot right now. Win or draw takes us through to the playoffs. A win with some other results going our way could even bring us a home playoff game.
Yep.
Loss would kick us out of the playoffs because we're playing Vancouver. Vancouver's right under us. So Adrian Heath is going to be at fault if this team doesn't make it to the playoffs. They're a really talented side. I thought they played really good first half of the year. Emmanuel Reynoso, if you haven't watched that man, sit down and watch him because he's one of the best players in the MLS. I truly think he could play in the Premier League if he wanted to. Yeah, I hope the Loons go through. It's like too good of a year to fucking, shit it out at the end and not make the playoffs. Saw some really impressive wins throughout the year. I think back to that 3-0 win over the Chicago Fire. I was at that game where we just dismantled them, and they're, a side with a lot of really good young players. It would be a shame to just kind of watch it go to waste and have to go into next season, and do it all over again. But that's MLS, I think, for us. We don't have many other teams in the MLS to talk about.
Nope. I want you guys to make it. And when you do, because you're gonna win or draw. I'll be rooting for the Loons in the playoffs.
I think if we get a playoff game, I think we'll actually go to the next round. It's about getting there. Adrian Heath's just such a bad manager, dude. He's turned us into a mini Everton, and
I got faith. I got faith in the individuals.
I hope so. So some other Premier League news for us to talk about before we get into Champions League. Bruno Lage got sacked at Wolves. That's a pretty interesting one, considering the signings they made in the summer. Obviously, pressure was on him.
He spent a bunch of money.
Yeah, exactly. Do we think he was given enough time? Well, I mean, Wolves are in the bottom three, so.
I think when you spend that much money, you're always kind of at risk to need to perform immediately. I think we very rarely see coaches that are given a big financial backing like that and then fail to deliver at the beginning of the season. A ton of time. I think it's harsh, but at the end of the day, it's a partially justified sacking, I guess, if that makes sense. I understand why he left. Wolves have never been a team that you peg to, be in a relegation spot. They've kind of built a name for being defensively solid, giving the top six some trouble, a really good, middle of the table, 10 to 8 team that are going to get points off the big six. And they just haven't, they look like a shell of the team we've all kind of come to know Wolverhampton as over the past couple of years. So it makes sense. Maybe it's a little unfair to sack Lage before 10 games. So I think after 10, if you're still not performing, you can get sacked. It's almost a third of the season gone.
It's crazy because their defense still, it's one of the better defenses in the Premier League. You look, 9 goals conceded. I think that's the best in the bottom half besides Everton. It's still one of the best in the Prem. You've only scored 3 goals in 8 games, though.
That's the issue, honestly. That's the biggest, the glaring problem, I think, with the side.
Raul kind of sucks now. That, to be honest, that's what it is. He doesn't score the same amount of goals that he did in years prior.
That happens when you get injured, man. It's upsetting. It's unfortunate to say, but sometimes injuries just, you don't come back the same player.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they lost a little bit on the wings, too. Losing Jota, Trincao going. They lost quite a bit, on the wings. So it kind of does make sense. Looking at some other managers, kind of where they're at. Lampard's won 2 games in a row. Looks like he's going to be safe at Everton for a little while. They're almost in the top half. Gerrard, you have to think, is still on the hot seat at Villa. 8 points in 8 games. They just played Leeds in their last match. Went 40 minutes playing a man up and couldn't get a goal against a lead side where Jesse Marsh wasn't even on the touchline. You have to think the pressure is starting to really build on Gerrard, considering, again, how much money they spent in the summer.
Yeah. I think Villa do need to start stringing some results together. He's probably gone.
Yep. And the three others that obviously are on the hot seat, really, Southampton near the relegation zone. Ralph Hasenhüttl, who has been at Southampton for a while now, starting to build rumors about kind of an imminent sack towards him. If he doesn't get a result this weekend, he could say goodbye.
Against City.
Yeah, I know. He's been there a while. I actually really like him. And they're definitely going to lose to City.
They gave us trouble last season, but the last season is just this City team just feels different. Haaland could get Hasenhüttl sacked.
Yeah, it's tough. Southampton's a nice club, really good youth development there. They've lost a lot of talent in recent years. It's hard to kind of replicate that when you lose so many players consistently. And then
I need him to go down for my Premier League prediction at the start of the season.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And then the other two, Leicester City and Nottingham Forest. Again, we were going through managers because we have a lot to talk about in terms of there's a lot of managers on the hot seat right now. Premier League's probably more than ever kind of reactionary in terms of how much money is being spent. So we do kind of have to go over these. Brendan Rodgers, they just won their first game. They were on 1 point after 7 games. Now they're on 4, still in the bottom 2. And then Nottingham Forest also on 4 points. Steve Cooper, despite getting them promoted, when you buy 22 players and you only have 4 points after 8 games, you have a target on your back.
They need to shape up or Mitch is going to be right again at the end of the season. I don't want to hear that.
I know. Yeah. Forest, I really thought they'd get more out of those players. When you buy that much, it's like you can't get anything out of them. But, at the end of the day, this really doesn't put them in good position if they get relegated with all those contracts.
Yeah, they are going to be in a mountain of debt if they get relegated. That's actually terrifying to think about.
It could be a couple of relegations in a row at that point. You're going to have to overhaul everything if you're putting yourself that far financially behind the ball. And I don't see anything trending towards anything positive. So it's just, I don't know.
I agree. It's not
Mr.
looking
Prophecy
good
over here. I might have some hot takes to start the year, but they do pan out. I know what I'm talking about over here.
I've got a hot
game
take.
predictions. Gotta love them. Let's go. Let's do the UCL rundown, boys. We've done a couple of these now. This is number 3 of those. We're just giving our hot takes.
Let's fly through it. We're gonna shoot through these things.
Bayern 5-0 over Victoria Pleasant.
Wow, I'm so surprised. Next.
Musiala looked good. That's all I have to say with that one. Real exciting talent. Marseille 4-1 on Sporting. Kind of flipped that result. Sporting was winning. They got a red card. Marseille kind of padded after that.
Sporting lose their first game of the group stage too. Yep. So.
Porto winning 2-0 over Leverkusen. That got Sione sacked. Xabi Alonso in. First big managerial gig for the man.
That's interesting. I'm excited to see. I actually didn't see that he got appointed, so I'm excited to see how it goes for him.
Yeah, future Liverpool gaffer, Xabi Alonso.
Club Next Bruges. Game, shout out Club Brugge.
Yeah, 2-0, Atletico Madrid. Bruges perfect through 3 games. Still not allowed a goal in the group stage.
That's impressive.
Shout out Miggs.
Yeah, Mignolet, the boy. Atletico Madrid's bottom of the group as well. We have to add that.
That's kind of crazy with the Champions League heritage, so to speak, that they've had over the past few years. But
yep, Simeone is going to be on the hot seat as well. Speaking of managers, Ajax losing 6-1 to Napoli. Napoli looks fucking exciting.
Insane. Yeah, they look good as fuck.
They're top of Serie A right now too.
That team.
Yeah, they're a really good side.
Terrifying. Their midfield is really, really, really well built. They're scary going forward, and 26 shots, 13 of them on frame. That's insane.
It's not stupid. Look at their turnover. Look at their turnover in recent years. They lost Fabian Ruiz, Lorenzo Insigne, Kalidou Koulibaly. They're doing better than ever.
Yeah, they look really good. Impressive. Very, very impressive.
We'll go to the other game in the group first. Liverpool 2-0 on Rangers. We'll run through it quick. Liverpool changed formation. Trent, fucking banger of a free kick. Pat, what'd you think about that?
Great free kick. He still can't fucking defend for shit.
The techs on that free kick were just spectacular.
It's a great free kick. Doesn't change the fact he can't defend.
Well, listen to Klopp's interview a couple days ago. He can't defend because of what Klopp asks of him.
I will say I did like the 4-2-4.
Yeah, it worked well. A lot of good performances. Don't have to talk about them too much because we'll talk about them when we're getting into the Arsenal match. Frankfurt 0-0, Tottenham. Any surprises there?
No.
Nah, given
Tottenham
the
has
way
been
Tottenham have been playing,
abysmal.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought Frankfurt actually would get a goal on Tottenham. I kind of always forget that Mario Götze is there this year. And the Kolo Muani guy, name to watch out for. That guy is doing up bits in the Bundesliga so far. Inter 1, Barcelona 0. Pat, you watched this game?
Great. Yeah, I did. Great goal from Calhanoglu. I think Barca were a little unlucky not to get a goal, but ultimately, Inter had a game plan. They stuck to it. Barca probably aren't getting out of their group unless they can string some wins together. Xavi said after the game that now the next 3 games they play in the group stage, they have to treat them like finals.
Yeah. It looked like the San Siro was bouncing too. Proper ground.
Oh my God, yeah, it was. After the first goal, it was fucking.
It was loud.
You could feel the atmosphere in the stadium through your TV. It was crazy.
Love that. Salzburg 1-0 on Zagreb. I think the statement holds true. We're saying fuck Zagreb the rest of the group stages.
Correct. Yep, I'm with it.
Leipzig 3-1 up on Celtic. Poor Joey Hart.
R.I.P. my boy Joe Hart, man. R.I.P.
The lad. Leipzig are an interesting side. They started off the year bad, but sacked their manager. Maybe can string some good results, turn the season around. Still plenty of time. Next up, we have Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Beat the bricks off of AC Milan, even though they were wearing those off-white jackets. Didn't do too much for them on the pitch.
Yeah, shit is fire though. They go. Those Lettermans go hard.
They looked great getting their asses kicked.
Yeah, they looked great getting the shit kicked out of them.
Their jerseys are sick. That Italian little badge in the middle is so awesome. The reason they lost probably because they didn't play Origi.
Definitely.
Whatever. They play Juventus this weekend, and Origi's going to play. Speaking of Juventus, they won 3-0 against Maccabi. Juventus were winless in 5, beat Bologna, and then building it up with this win here. They're starting to kind of win a couple games. Vlahovic scored a really nice goal. Still, ultimately, it's Maccabi, so it's not that impressive.
True. Weston McKennie did play, though.
He did.
Minutes for the
That's the important part. That's the important part.
Real Madrid 2-1 on Shakhtar. Madrid 36 shots. Just crazy. They really put it to them.
Yeah, they look good. It's funny that like Barcelona's kind of cruising in La Liga right now, but can't string it together in the Champions League, and Madrid are just like the Champions League team.
Yeah, I mean they have it in their blood. They get results over the line.
They have that aura. They have the juice.
Yes,
as one might say.
So Sevilla losing 4-1 to Dortmund. That another game that got a manager sacked. Julen. I don't know how to say his last name, to be honest.
Lopetegui?
Yeah, Lopetegui. He got sacked after this match, so
yeah,
his reign at Sevilla comes to an end. Jude Bellingham, another really, really proper, mature performance in the Champions League. And that striker up top, the Moukoko guy, what a touch that was for Jude's goal.
He was in the mix all night.
Yeah.
He had a really impressive game.
One thing I found impressive about that was Daniel Malin was on the bench, and I kind of forgot Dortmund even had him. I think he just sucks now. But
yep. Yeah, he probably does. Other game in the group, my guys, City beat Copenhagen 5-0.
Yes.
Wasn't even a contest, honestly. City barely tested. We brought on a bunch of youth players. There was a point where we had 2 academy kids playing. Haaland scores another brace. What more can I say about the guy? City are great.
Blue team score goal.
Grealish man of the match.
Scores goals. Yes, great performance from him again too. That's why I'm saying, dude, he's finding his feet. He's looking good. I really hope he can string these together and get a bunch of these under his belt for the remainder of the season, where he's finally looking like the player we spent the money on. He's looking like that guy he was at Villa, running at defenders, winning fouls, creating chances. He probably could have scored a hat trick if the ball fell a little bit better throughout the game. So I really wanted him to score, but I still think man of the match very much deserved for him.
Nice. And last match, Benfica 1-1 with PSG. Messi scored a fucking wonder curler. I called that.
Unbelievable team goal.
Yeah,
it was
was a really
phenomenal.
good goal. PSG could have scored another. Took their foot off the gas a little bit. I felt like Neymar just, I can't stand watching Neymar if I'm being completely honest. I know that'll probably draw some heat. What an awful player to sit there and watch for 90 minutes.
I fucking love him. I love Neymar.
He's just such a piss taker.
I don't give a shit, dude. I love Neymar. When he was in La Liga, rainbowing everybody, even when they were 6-0 up, inject it. I love that shit. I think Neymar is fucking awesome.
That wraps up the UCL. Any other takeaways, boys? Halfway through the group stages.
I don't want to play Napoli in the next round. And you guys are going to lose to Ajax on the final day, so your cleaning supplies joke comes back to bite you in the ass from Twitter. That's a deep cut, folks.
Wow.
It took me 5 minutes to understand that. I hope you know. Ajax is a cleaning supply.
I'm not surprised by that.
Thank you, Mitch.
Let's I mean, it's what it is. Let's take it out of bounds for a little bit. Talk about some football related stuff that isn't necessarily happening on the pitch. First one, I think I have a topic that we have listed here that I would like to speak on first, and it's the 2022 World Cup rules.
Let's go.
One, that is fucking absurd.
Which one? Which
insane.
Which one's the worst?
There's one that's actually like very reasonable and perfectly fine to do. But so for those of you who don't know, the World Cup prohibited, they put out like a poster that was like, welcome to Qatar. Here's what you can't fucking do here. And they listed drinking alcohol, homosexuality, immodesty, profanity, not respecting places of worship. Very reasonable. That,
Yeah.
totally fine with me. That makes so much sense. That's perfect. Loud music and sounds, dating, taking people's pictures without permission. So the World Cup is supposed to be a giant party, giant celebratory football experience over the course of a couple of months. And they're saying, yeah, come here, have this party. Don't have any fucking fun though.
And don't take any
Can you imagine?
pictures.
Can you imagine telling someone not to yell at a football match?
Yeah.
Do you think
also,
everyone
like, I
going
get
to
that-
the game has to like submit to getting their picture taken because they take like crowd shots and shit for TV?
I don't know. This is just another. I mean, between this and like the picture of the like apartments or whatever for people to stay in, how on earth Qatar got this World Cup, I just will never understand. Like, they must have given FIFA a bag to host this tournament because
Oh yeah.
it's insane, man. Like, I get that. I got a lot of issues with it that I'm just not super interested in ranting about, but like, it's fucking crazy. And you just read the list and it's like one like ridiculous thing to put on a poster you're putting out to the public after another.
Homosexuality and loud music and sounds are, the two craziest ones in my opinion.
Absolutely absurd. Dating too. That's also
Yeah, no
fucking
dating.
crazy.
Oh, so shout out Harry Kane and the 9 other European captains that are wearing rainbow captain armbands.
Yeah, I'd rock. Did you see that Denmark is getting flack too for like they have protest jerseys that they're wearing during the tournament?
I don't know if we even
with
talked about that. Those Hummel jerseys, again, Hummel, top of the fucking line when it comes to kits. Those muted accents, just muting the entire jersey in protest. Love it.
Very good. Very good. I like that. I love it.
Also, English people
and,
are just
you know,
going to run through this list and see how much they can break.
Holy shit. Yeah, the hooliganism is going to be absurd at this World Cup from the English fans.
There's going to be a lot of people
And honestly,
spending some
I'm
time in Qatari jail.
I'm a little here for it, so.
We'll stick on the topic of World Cups. Ukraine joins Spain and Portugal for the 2030 World Cup bid. This one's a little weird for me because it's obviously I want Ukraine to. That would be awesome if they could host the World Cup. Doing it, when Spain and Portugal are the other two, that's a bit like having like a USA, Mexico, and Argentina World Cup. It just seems out of the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Ukraine is close. No, Spain and Portugal is like the Iberian Peninsula, right? Liberian
Yeah,
Peninsula,
right above
Iberian
Morocco.
Peninsula. Yeah, it's a peninsula, like on like the coast of Europe. Yeah, no, this doesn't make any sense actually. That's like really far away.
I feel like it's like almost a tokeny move to just like throw them in for kind of goodwill.
Yeah, it does feel a little performative, but is what it is.
Well, Mitch, any thoughts?
I just 8 years. That's 2 World Cups. Like it seems like with everything that we hear that's going on and know that's going on, it seems like a stretch to have have it so close. Maybe a future project, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. I would love for them to host a World Cup.
Last out of bounds topic I have Jose Mourinho, just his antics lately. He's popping off everywhere. This weekend, he was
Yes.
suspended for his Serie A match, parked a van outside, watched it there, posted on
I love
Instagram.
him.
He's just having a good
I
time,
love
man. He
him.
looks happy.
I love the rivalry that he created with Guardiola while in Spain, and I love the rivalry that he had with Guardiola in England. It wasn't really a rivalry though, but I just love Mourinho. He is
He's a character.
hilarious. One of the best coaches ever. To the little punditry tour he did when he like took his break from managing. I could listen to him talk about football for hours. I think he's one of the best minds in the sport. I think he's just he's a he's like a figurehead in the modern game of football, and I have come to really love and appreciate Mourinho. I think he's fucking awesome.
He was in Stormzy's recent video as well. Very cool cameo there. If you haven't
Yeah,
listened.
that's crazy. Mourinho has the streets.
Yes. Uh,
And
we can
Jose
chat about the
Mourinho.
Prem this weekend now, boys. The biggest match, Liverpool versus Arsenal.
I'm nervous, Josh. I'll be honest. Cautious optimism about this one. Um, if we play like we did against Rangers, I think it'll be a much easier time for us. If we do run that four at the top and apply pressure quickly and have the double pivot in the midfield work as well as it did, I think we'll be able to hold Arsenal at bay a little bit easier. But if they're able to expose our defense anything like Brighton did, I think it's going to hurt a lot more than 3 goals. Um, so I'm just approaching this one with cautious optimism. I think we can go out and get a result. I think the boys, especially after the Champions League game, are probably feeling a little more confident, and I would expect us to go out and have a good 90-minute showing.
Yeah, it's probably Arsenal's biggest defensive test so far this season. Even though you could say other teams might have been more on form, the talent we're gonna put out. I'd love to see us do the 4-4-2 again with Jota and Firmino. Jota owns Arsenal Football Club, and Firmino, is going to be able to break the lines. Again, great record against Arsenal too, and I think he'll be able to drag players like Saliba and Gabriel out of position. Hopefully, historically too, results are in our favor. Last 15, where Arsenal are only 4-9-1 against us, so only one win in their last 15. Or no, 4 wins, sorry. And I think we won our last 2 away days at the Emirates as well. So I'm not going in scared necessarily, but
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be a challenge. If we win, I think that puts us really, on the front foot going forward.
Yeah, and
I
sorry, go ahead,
You
Pat.
go, Mitch. Nope, nope, you go. I'll close
I
it out.
I guess I want to like with my final thought just say the one thing I kind of differ here is well yes I would like to see Bobby play at some point in the game. I'd much rather see Nunez start this game to have that quick and the size moving forward if we want to get into the box and draw that mid or that center back pairing out. I think it would be good to establish Nunez early and then pull Bobby in later to open up space. But
Yeah,
that's
I
just
could
That
see it
is a
going
good,
either
that,
way.
that is a good idea. You start a
because
very
I just
non-threatening center forward and then
I
bring
just
on
I
Firmino.
just I just don't think we've seen enough of Darwin Nunez yet. I think he needs more minutes, and it's not going to happen if he's coming on 70, 80th minute. on a regular basis.
Bobby's doing a bit.
Uruguayan Andy
Big
Carroll.
game, Bobby.
Bobby
Yeah,
is
I
playing
think
well.
Firmino should start. I think Firmino should start.
Ride the hot hand.
But so I'm gonna differ from you here, Josh. I like Arsenal in this game.
It's a fair call.
I went against them last week. I got proven very wrong. The Emirates feels like they're building something there right now, man. The atmosphere they put up against Spurs was insane. I think the fans are going to be right behind them for the entire 90 minutes. I think you can talk all you want to about like individual talent in your side, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I haven't been convinced by any of your forwards this season. I think Firmino's been your best, the best attacking option that you've had, but I don't know. I'm not super sold on Liverpool going forward right now. And yeah, you're going to test Arsenal, but they're going to test you. And I'm really not sold on your back four right now either, to be completely honest with you. You got a clean sheet against Rangers, but you shipped 3 to Brighton, 2 early goals. I think if you have that little lapse in concentration, or they could get at your back four in the places that, teams have been exposing all season, I think you're going to have a really tough time, because it's not Trossard you're going to be letting in behind. Yeah. It's going to be Gabriel Jesus drifting out wide. It's going to be Saka. It's going to be Martinelli. It's going to be players that have like real quality that are going to be who those chances are falling to. I favor Arsenal in this one. I think they're going to stay top of the table at the end of the weekend, as much as it pains me, because I really fucking need you guys to get a result.
That's kind of why I think we should stick with that wide formation, because I think having Salah and Diaz like truly on the wing, I think just gives us a little bit more defensive cover, helps Trent out a lot, and pushes Arsenal I think are really strong on the wing. Saka and Martinelli are obviously pacey, tricky players to defend against.
And Jesus too, he'll drift out there often. Yeah. So it's going to be. We'll see. I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm excited to watch it personally.
This could be a Liverpool-Arsenal match of old, where there's just like a ton of goals. So
that could be a fun one. Be a very fun one.
A couple other matches, just we can run through them, give our predictions. Brighton-Tottenham's an interesting one. Brighton is a team that usually gives Spurs quite a bit of trouble. It's interesting to see how Conte kind of reacts. He's really, I think, facing some pressure. Needs to rotate aside a little bit. Do you think Brighton can pull off an upset here?
I like Brighton here. Absolutely. I don't even think it's an upset. I don't even think it's an upset. I think Brighton are a better team right now.
That's fair. I like their new manager too. He obviously came over from Shakhtar. You can tell he's just an organized man. He has his wits about him. I'm excited to see kind of what he does there.
Shakhtar have always played good ball too, and I think he's been their coach for the past couple of years. So, yeah, I like Brighton in this one. They have the Pat. These are Pat's picks. Brighton.
Everton, Man United next. This one's an interesting one. Mitch, why don't you start us off with this one?
I think we see Man United kind of settle back in.
Again, they need it. They need it bad.
They do need it, and this is a good opportunity for them to do so. While Everton aren't like a terrible side this year, they've definitely been able to string some performances together. Not really against anything crazy yet, but I think this is a good opportunity for Man United to go out and regain some of that confidence that they were starting to build.
Only thing that holds him back here, it's at Goodison Park. We know every team in the Northwest, Man City, Man United, Liverpool, we have a hard time playing at Goodison.
It's a tough place.
Last one.
Shout out I like Everton in this one. I don't know. I like Everton. I think Everton are going to keep the. I mean, yeah, that's a very fair call too. But yeah, I'm saying Everton. That's something about them. I think Man United are a little rattled after that City loss. I think Everton can get at them.
And then the last one, I think this one's interesting just because I think if there's a winner, the opposite manager probably gets the sack, and that's Forest versus Villa.
2-2 draw.
I'm rooting for Forest. Fuck you, Steven.
I think I'll go Villa. I think they have enough to probably get over the line in this one. But
I think Villa win this game too.
Yeah, no.
But
I would probably say Villa win this by a goal or two. This Forest side has zero identity. They have no Like it's a team with players, and
Yeah.
it's exactly how it felt going into the season. Like,
that's the funniest and like
A
most
team with
accurate
players.
description of Forest right now.
you
It's a
know,
team and they've got some players.
It's like a fantasy draft, and they just like picked random players from Europe, like Renan Lodi, all of these.
They bought
random
players on
It's
auto
insane.
draft. They
right?
bought players on auto draft. They're just
Yeah.
like, this guy.
Speaking of Villa too, I have a gripe with one guy because I was on his train so hard, and his stock has just plummeted. Ollie Watkins, where is that man?
He scored so many goals against you in that
Where
one
is
game,
that
and
man?
he just hasn't looked the same.
Yeah, he sucks now. I think Gerrard needs to put Danny Ings in full time. Ings will keep Villa in the top half.
How old is Danny Ings now?
Danny's not that old. He must 32 maybe. Danny bags goals. That little spurt where he was at Southampton, he was a fucking baller.
Oh yeah, he was. He looked good.
But I digress.
He's 30.
Yeah, he's proper
He's
fit.
30. I don't know why I thought he was like 35. Oops.
Anyways, I think that wraps it up, boys. Episode 10.
That was a good talk. We had a lot to unpack there. We're getting that UCL rundown down.
Yeah, we're getting him quick.
Lot to cover.
I think that wraps it up though. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna leave a little bit of a cliffhanger. I might have a hot take I want to table next episode. I've been sitting on this one for a little bit.
Is it a Liverpool thing?
No, it has nothing to do with Liverpool. Okay. It has to do with City. But I've got a statement I'd like to make. I'm going to table it for the next episode. But I'm going to put it on wax.
Now I'm interested.
We'll open with that next week. Comment on the thing, like the thing, share the thing. We'll see you guys next week.
Deuces.
Deuces.